Good afternoon. Welcome to today's class. Let's see if you can have more. I believe you can all hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll begin soon. Let me just see if I can. All right. Let's begin. First of all, let us see. Okay. Let's see if you have question on the assignments. Was there any challenge? Should we take the assignment first, or we should move on to the next?
Let's do the assignment.
All right. So let me share my screen. So I need to quickly import my data. So just in a moment, it's going to load. Okay, it created a new one for me. So let me stop sharing this and share the right slide. I don't know if this is okay. Not this, because I've worked on this particular file. Let me share another one. Okay, I've kind of worked. I'm looking for the raw file so I can hold on. Let me see what I can do. Maybe I should just let me just re-download from WhatsApp so I can. I hope you have your system and your files ready. Let's download again.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I have it imported now. So let's move on. Data 3. Okay. So our basic tasks, I believe you can see my workspace. You can see my file. So our basic task is to clean this data set. All right. So let's get to clean this data set. When cleaning data set, the things we have to check, you check for missing values, duplicates, outliers. Let's start with missing values first. Now, it is quite
Sorry, it's
obvious.
really only me. See your screen.
I can't hear you.
I cannot see your screen. I don't know if I'm the only one.
Eh, really? Okay, let me just stop sharing and share again. How about now?
I still cannot. Let me try to rejoin.
Okay. Do I have another person there? Hello, please, another person there. Let me see. Are you also having same challenge? Do I have another person there? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So let's proceed. Quite obvious that I can see some missing values at cell B9. I don't know how many though. So what I will do first, right? I can say, okay, let me count how many missing values I have first. Perhaps I may use let me use a filter to do that, right? So to use filter, I can just go to data, right? Then I apply filter on that. So once I select this, I can uncheck everything and only select for blanks, right? So once I do that, I can see now that it is obvious I have so many blanks, right? But I don't know how many blanks I have. Let's try to apply some functions there. Let me remove the filter. Data. Okay, now I have it back. So I can go down to the last part of my. Once I go down, let's try to, it's kind of bulky though. So trying to reach the last part of my. That's about 5,000 plus, right? Okay, I'm there already. So for me, I can just say equals to, take note of the functions I'm using, though we are still going to talk about them, but at least you're already seeing me using them now. So count. First of all, let me see. I will do something. I'll use is blank first. When I say is blank, we check whether a cell is blank or not. So I'll choose this particular cell. It's going to give me whether true or false. So it's not blank. You can see. aside this blank, there's is null, there's is NA. So since our data is left blank, so the best function to use is blank. So I'm going to combine this with if statement now. So I'll say I want you to count, right? If, so we're using count if, then I'll check if it is blank, or hello, perhaps I should break it down with if cell. So it's going to count if. So it's going to first of all check this whether it is true or not. So if this is blank, let me fold it. If it is blank, so I can say let me give it a range. So that is cell A, right? A2 to, was that A or B? That's B2 to B854. 8525, right? 8525. So then I will hit this. It gives me kind of error. To hit that. Uh, it's giving me zero. I don't have empty. So let me use another format then. Instead of using is blank. That's 5. I want to get to the last part of my screen. I don't know why. Okay, yeah, here is it. So I can say let's say if, right, A2 if A2 to A 8525 is blank, right? Am I having error? Just a minute. Let me see why I'm having some formula error. I don't know if someone is still with me online.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So I've seen what I'm looking for. So equal to, all right. So all right. So I'll use count A now, right? So let's say that's B2 to B8524. So this gives me about 7,000, but 7,000 cells are empty there, right? So the count A tells me how many blanks I have in my columns. This thing is not staying in one place. I don't know if you get that. Did you? So now let's try to now use it to fill data set. So if I do this for, let me try to replicate this, and I drag it like this. Probably the function I'm using, I don't know why. All right, let's just move ahead and fill. I'm trying to count, but I'm having some kind of error here. So now to fill this, the empty cells, right? I can first of all let me create a new columns beside. I'll create a new column beside this, Control Shift Plus, right? So I will say if, right? Now the if function is used to check. So I'm going to check if this particular column or particular cell rather. So if this particular cell equals to if this particular cell equals to empty, you can see the way I put it, then what should I do? If it is equals to empty, I want you to put the average. You know how to calculate average, right? So I can say average. Now it depends on what you want to do with your missing values. To you, what do you think is the best to handle missing values? Are we to remove it, or should we use average? What do you think? What are you suggesting? Hello?
Use average.
All right, thank you so much. So I will use average. So I'm going to use average of B2 to be as 8524, I guess. So if it is equals to blank, I want you to put the average. Else, just leave our B2 there back. I'll take this again. The if functions take a particular conditions, right? So once this condition is true, it will evaluate the second condition. So if it is empty, I want you to do this particular. Else, just leave our B2 there. If I hit this, it's going to return 9.3 back, right? Because it is not empty. Let me drag it down to cell C9. Take note, it has given the average. The average of the whole data set is 12.8. Let me now try to round it. So instead of putting, you can see, let me go back here. So you can see that I have 12.85837. Kind of, so like most of the data sets are about 2 decimal places. So it's better I leave it at 2 decimal places. So let me round it. So if I round it, I'll just wipe and then I'll put comma 2 decimal place. Then I will. But it's better I start from up here. ROUND, right? Then I'll put my comma 2, then hit my decimal place. Then I can now drag it down, right? Up to the last cell. I know many of you might try to fill those values manually. It will really take time. and it will be very stressful. So let me just drag it down to the last row I have. I'm going to hit that. I don't know why. It's kind of slow. Okay, I guess I feel that. I don't know if I complete the dragging. Now that I have done that, so I can now rename this particular column as let me copy this and then paste it here, right? Try to expand this column. So now you can see that this one is filled now. So I can then copy the whole of this, Control C, then come here and paste values, right? Values only. So once I do that, I have this. I can now remove this column by saying just Control Shift minus. It will delete that particular column. I don't know if you understand that. Let me remove the filter, so I don't need it anymore. I don't know if someone understand what I've just explained. Or
Can you quickly like go over it again?
okay, let me undo. So I have this particular column is what I want to fill, right? I have some empty values. I can calculate the average somewhere and start putting it one by one. That might be kind of stressful, right? So to do that, let me just create a new column, Control Shift plus, right? Here. Then I want to compute every values here. If the value is blank, I want it to put the average. If it is not blank, leave what was there before, right? For instance, now this particular cell has 9.3, but if it is blank, just leave 9.3 there, else put the average. So to do that, I can use the if function, right? That might be the, you can use conditional formatting too, but I prefer this for now. So if I say equals to if, right, then I can then say if this cell equal to blank, I use an empty quotation. Alternative way to do that is to say is blank, right? I was trying to use that before. I don't know why it did not work. So if this is blank, so if this evaluate to true, I want you to find the average. So AVE RAGE, right? Average of the whole of the column. That's B2 to B8524, 8525, yeah. Now, if it is blank, put the average. Else, just leave my B2 there back for me. Do you understand? So I will run this, I'll hit my enter key. So you can see I have my 9.3 because it is not blank. If I drag this down, let me drag it to this place. Notice that this place is blank, but it has now put 12.85. Since I have not gone far, I want to round it up to 2 decimal places. So I can just come here and use ROUND, round, and put my comma here, comma, 2 decimal place, and close it. So that's right. That makes it, but I don't want to make it from here. Let me just start my round from here and start doing ROUND, right? Then I'll put comma 2 decimal place, then it equals to, then I can now drag it down now till as much as I want, till the last part of this column, right? Because I'm working on I'm using the online Microsoft Excel, so it's kind of not dragging fast. I don't know. I don't know if you got that.
Yes, I did.
Okay. I want to ask if you got that. Okay. So now that we have filled this, I don't want the two I don't want two columns having the same name. Let me expand this particular column by just dragging that. Right. So this and this column B and columns, they are actually the same. So I'll just copy this and paste it, but this time I will not paste the formula. I'm going to paste values only, right? So that I can then, what was there before? Item weight, right? Okay. So I can then delete this, Control Shift minus to delete that cell, then rename my column item WEIGHT item weight. So I have this column filled now, even though I did not drag it completely though, so I'm expecting you to do yours. Let me remove this filter. So all right, the next part we want to talk about is, are there outliers? Perhaps let me try to complete this. Is dragging. So let's say I have a particular column. You can do the same thing for this. I think there are only two columns that have missing values. Item weight and outlet size, right? Those are the. Now let's assume that I want to find outliers. What are outliers? Outliers are values that are far extremely too large or too low, right? As respective to those values. Let me use this item outlet sales, right? I want to see what are the sales. Now there are several ways to get outliers. One way to do it is to use the interquartile range. Now this is what I would do. I can say okay, I think I open a new sheet. Okay, yeah, it's still there. Let's say I want to get my minimum, right? First of all, to calculate the lowest value, that is deemed fit, right, as data within the range, it is the Q1 minus 1.5 times IQHAL. I don't know if you are familiar with that. IQHAL, right? Now to get the highest value within range, highest, it is Q3 plus 1.5 times IQHAL. This you can check online. It's online. You can read more about how to get outlier. So outliers are data that does not conform with the regular thing. Maybe all sales are around 2,000 naira or 2,000. Then you now suddenly have a sales as 1 million, right? It does not conform to the general pattern. So it is deemed fit as an outlier. So we are going to see if we have outliers in this column called item outlet sales, the sales in each outlet, right? So what I would do, I'll get the minimum, right? Or perhaps let me go straight to, let me say, I need my Q1. Q1 here is the first quarter, right? So to calculate first quarter in Excel, let's see, it will be equals to quarter, right? Let me go to my sheet. I created a new sheet. So let me go to my data sheet and select the whole of this column, right? So to do that, just press Shift, Control Shift space. Then it's going to select everything at once. So I will hit my Enter key. So it's telling me error because I've not told it to how many quarter am I um am I putting it. So I'll just come here and put comma and say for 1 quarter. That's going to calculate the quarter for me. So the first quarter is around 834 USD perhaps since you are working with currency, let me just put it to 2 decimal places. All right. So I have $834.58. What's it called? What's their currency again in? Hello, are you with me? $834.58. Is somebody online? I don't know if am I talking to myself or.
Yes, I am. I did not get the quarter. Please, can you like come again?
All right. Just like I said to get outliers. This is perhaps one of the statistical way of getting outliers. Outliers are data that falls within range, right? I gave an example. If all says around 1,000, 2,000, 1,000, 2,000, suddenly and a half says around 5,000, you will be wondering, why is this particular data point different from that? So to get that, the lowest value that is deemed fit within outlier is Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. IQR is interquartile range. And to get the highest value that is deemed fit is Q3 plus 1.5 times interquartile range. So how do we get our first quarter now, which is Q1, which is around 25 percentile? So you say equals to quartile, right? Then go to your data sheet that you want to calculate. This I'm calculating item outlet sales. So Control Shift Space, right? Okay, let me do that again. I don't know why it's not picking. Okay, it actually picked that. Let me take that equals to quartile, right? Quartile, this Control Shift Space. Oh no. So I can just complete it here. Since I know my health stop at my data stop at 8,525. So from L2 to L 8,525, right? So if I hit this, it's not going to give me what I want, but I need to tell it to what quartile am I calculating. Since I'm calculating to one quartile, so I'll just put comma and I put my one. Now it's my enter key, right? So you can see if I hit my enter key, then it tells me that I have 834,058 cents. That's $1,000.58. So I can round it since I'm working with currency. I can round it to 2 decimal places. So if I round it to 2 decimal places, then I have 834.58. That's my first quartile, right? So to get my Q3 now, which is my third quartile, that will be equals to quartile, right? So once you say equals to quartile, go to the sheet where you have your data, right? I will just go back up to the beginning. Kind of working online, so using Microsoft Excel online because of some features I want to use. Okay, so I'll just select this up to the last part. Did you get that? Control Shift down to select everything at once. Then you can just put your comma. Right? How many quarter am I putting this now? I'm putting it to third quarter. So I'll just hit my listing. So my third quarter is 3,101. Right? So I can dim it fit around it since I'm working with currency. And I'll put how many decimal places I want? 3. No, 2 decimal places. Then I have this. Do you understand? Or was it too ambiguous or was I too fast?
I don't know. When I try it, I'm getting an error.
How's the error? What error did you get?
I'm not even seeing it again.
How did you go about it? How did you do yours?
I don't know. It's telling me you've entered too many arguments for this function.
For quarter, right?
Yes.
Take note. You select the first part is to select your data range, the column, all the columns you want to calculate the quota. The second part should be how many quarter, what quarter are you putting it? Is it first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? Since it is Q1, so you just put one here. So there should be just two arguments in this parenthesis. Is that what you have?
Okay, I've gotten it now.
Okay. So since I want to round this, I just try to wrap it around ROUND, right? Then put comma after all this and put two decimal places and then close it. Do you get that now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is so now let us now calculate the lowest value. So lowest will now be our Q1, right? So I just have to put formula equals to Q1, right, minus open bracket. Put the formula there. So it's the 1.5, right, times IQR. Okay, to make it more clearer, let's calculate the interquartile range first. So I'll remove this. Let's say I want to calculate IQR. IQR is first quarter, third quarter minus first quarter, right? So that will be equals to this minus this. That's B4 minus B3. So so that's my interquartile range. Do you get that now? Interquartile range is third quarter minus first quarter. So this is the formula equals to B3. If you use B3 minus B4, then you are going to have a negative value. So I think I explained absolutes the last time. So if I don't want to care about which one is bigger and which one is smaller, I can just use ABS, absolute, equals to absolute this minus this. So even though the smaller one is subtracting the bigger one, I will still have, is this what I had before? I'll still have the same answer anyway. Let me confirm if that's what I have. That's lowest. Tell me what your value is. What do you have as your value?
Value for what?
Your IQ how?
I have 2267.05.
2266 points. Which
I
data
don't know,
are you
my
using?
Q1 is different.
Your keyboard.
But
Okay,
my
try to stabilize
Q1,
it. What's your Q1?
834.25.
Probably you've tampered with your data. Just let's leave it. Or check. Did you say from L2 to L8525?
I thought it was
Check the
8524.
8525. Stop at 25, 25,225. That's the last two in your data. So just change that 4 to 5.
I think I still got the same thing. Still the
Try
same
to
thing.
try to check what's wrong there later. So let's just concentrate on finding outliers for now. You can now check what's wrong. So now since we found our interquartile range, so now let's check the lowest value. So the lowest value will now be Q1. So what's my Q1? My Q1 is this. That's equal to this cell, which is my B3 in my own case, minus IQR. So I open a bracket minus IQR times what? 1.5 or 1.5 times IQR, anyhow you want to do it. 1.5 times IQR. Let's remove this. Oh, no. 1.5 times this cell. So if I close it, I should have this. So the lower cell should not be less than negative value, even though it is not normal to have negative money for payment. So statistically, this is the least value that you can have. So maximum. So maximum value in our range should be equal to, right, Q3, which is this value, plus open bracket, right, 1.5 times the IQR. If I close this, so this should be the maximum value. So any data range, any data point or any value that is smaller than this or bigger than this is considered outlier. Do you get?
Yes, sir.
Struggling with anything? Sorry, Fumi, are you with
True, sir.
us? Eh? Okay, I don't think she just muted
Sir?
herself. Are you saying something?
I'm with
No, sir.
Okay, all right. So now let us find all those values within range. In this case, I'm going to I'm going to use conditional formatting now to find if there are outliers in this particular column, right? So what I'll do, I'll go to my home tab, then I'll go to what's it called? Um, conditional formatting. Why is this displaying like this? Okay. Don't forget, I'm working online, so your home might not display like this. So I'm using Excel 365 online. So just go to your conditional formatting in your home tab, right? You see it around middle. So we go to highlight cells rules. When you get to highlight cells rules, then you go to between. Once you say between, right, then we can now put your value. So what's the lowest value? The lowest value we got was what? So I'll just cap it as 0 for now, since we can have a payment of negative value. As our statistical analysis said, you cannot have it. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. In this, what we did here, the lowest value is allowed. And the lowest value allowed is minus 22,565. But in reality, we are dealing with currency. We can't have a value less than 0, right? So I'll just cap this at 0, between 0 and my maximum. What's my maximum? Maximum was what? 6,501.38. 6,501.38. So I'll just come in 6,000, what again? 501.38. 6,501.38. Right? So I'll just click on OK. Done. So let's see. Do I have any data that is not highlighted? So you can just scroll down and see. This particular data point, look at it here, actually went far way beyond beyond the predicted, beyond the normal pattern. You can see 6,768. Well, depending on what you are trying to do, let's see if there are more. can see another outlier here, another outliers, another outliers. All right, now what will you now do to outliers? If Adobe you are giving, you are now employed as, assuming you are employed as a data analyst, what will you do to these outliers? What do you think is best to do? What's best to do? Well, it depends on the business model you are trying to solve. Since you are dealing with currency, it's not best for us to remove the outliers anyway. But in many cases, or in some cases, you might be removing outliers. Do you understand? So in this case, we will not remove them. I just want us to take note of how to identify outliers. And we have calculated that using how is this behaving this way? I have calculated that using the interquartile range formula method. I believe you understand that. So let's move on. What other thing were we told to do in okay, we've checked distribution. Now to check distribution, there are a couple of many ways to check distribution of data sets. You might use graph, you might use that the one we've just done now. Now let's try to plot a graph for that. I'll create a new sheet, right? I'll go to insert. So I want to plot an histogram for that. There are two graphs that is used to show distribution. You can either use histogram or use box plots. Statistically, you might call it box and whisker plot, right? So I'm creating a new sheet for that. Let me name it distribution of outlet sales, or let me say outlet sales distribution. Okay, so I've named this sheet now. What I will now do, I'll go to insert. All right, when I go to insert, I'll go to charts, right? So I'll look for histogram. If you are using desktop version, you might not see histogram anyway. So tell me if you find it. So this is my histogram here. So once I put histogram, now I don't have any particular data here, right? It's not showing anything. So I'm going to go and select the data range I have. Please, it might not show like this in your homes if you are using desktop. So I'll go here, select the column I want to plot. Right. So what's the column again? Column L. So I'll just select Control Shift down to select everything. So I'll click on apply. Now, as you can see that our data is kind of right skewed. There are most of the data here, right? We are still going to correct the axis anyway. Most of the data are kind of very small. So from this place, from 6,000, you can see there are outliers from here, around here. So you can see that kind of unusual. So this is a right skewed data. So this is distribution of data sets. Do you understand? So I can edit this by trying to just change some of my. I won't do anything for now since we are still going to talk about chart more. But let me just see our chart title. I can add chart title by saying distribution of house, or let's say outlet sales distribution. So right. So that's my heading. I can change it to another font. Can use let me use red. Right. I think I'm okay for now. vertical axis. Minimum is capped at 0. Let me use legend, which is okay. So any questions so far? So this is the distribution of outlets. As you can see, most of our data are around, they are very small, from 33 USD to around, most of the data are around from 33 to 4,000 USD. So most, then others are outrageously just large. Did you get this? Or you are having challenge? You might not find histogram if you are using desktop version. So that's why I'm not using desktop version. Did you find yours? Who found it? Let me know.
I found it, but
Did
I
you
don't
plot
know.
histogram?
I don't get what you found. Yes, I found this program.
Okay, we want to see, since we are trying to inspect if there are anomalies or there are data that are not normal, we've already confirmed that there are actually some data that are not beyond the specific, like all those ones that are not highlighted. You got it to this particular point, right? Something like this. It is way too big, or kind of does not follow the normal pattern, or far way beyond the average, right? Now I said let us plot the distribution of this. I'll delete this chart again, right? I created a new sheet for the chart, and I named the sheet outlet sales distribution. So to create the sheet, you go to insert, right? You go to chart, and then you choose distribution. Just find histogram there. Just find histogram. Okay, is here already. So this is histogram here, right? I don't have anything. Why? Because I haven't added the column I want. So I will delete what I have here. Then in this particular place here, that is asking me to select data range, I'll go to the sheet where I want to select. The data I want to plot is in column L. So I'll just select the whole of this column, Control Shift, arrow down, to select everything. As you can see, I have it selected here already, right? So if I click on apply, it's going to plot the histogram for me, right? So that is how to plot histogram. I can change the title of this histogram by just saying uh, outlet sales. Sales distribution, right? I can name the format by changing the font of this. I want it catchy. Let me use red, right? That is outlet sales distribution. Now, what can we deduct from this is that most values, most of the prices are between 33.29 to around 4,000 USD. That is to this point. That's where most data is, or around 2,000 so or so. So every other, you can see some even data points here that are still here. So all these are considered outliers. Did you get there? All these data points in this particular point here are considered outliers. That is one way to discover outliers. Another way to discover outliers is to use box and whisker plots. So let me leave that to where we get to charts. Do you understand this now? Was what I said clear? Okay, back to data clear. We have
I
seen the
did
distribution. Now
not.
you did not get it. Well, you might be
I'll just
having
go through
issue
the
plotting it
recording
too. Okay, you might be
because I
having
don't know
issue
when I
plotting.
clicked on it, I didn't
Go
see
ahead.
like this charts. I don't know.
You saw
I'll just
charts,
watch the
but you couldn't.
recording.
Okay. There might be issue finding histogram on desktop. Right. So looking at this particular column, we are still on cleaning data. If you check this column, let me expand this. You notice that these two columns are matched together as outlet identifiers and dates, and outlet establishment year. I want to split it. The first one out 00049 out, they are all outlet identifier. Then after the comma, they are all the year of establishment. But the way this data is clumsy, it has been merged together, right? So let's try to split it. So I'll select this column, then go to my data tab, then go to split text to column, right? So once I click on split text to column, then you're going to tell what delimiter are you using. My delimiter is a comma. I'll choose comma. You will notice that if I unchoose comma, you notice that this is still merged. But once I choose comma, to put this down here, preview, it kind of show me how my data is separated. I can scroll down and I can then say apply. You will notice this has nothing inside because the hand, I can delete it. Control Shift minus, right? So you can see establishment here, outlet identifier, all separated. Did you get that? So that is for.
Yes, sir.
So any other cleaning you want to do might still be missing value. We've discovered outliers, we've discovered missing. There's some missing values in this particular column. What's it called? I think item types. So if just
Outlet
find what you can
size.
do. Just find what you can do to that. If there's nothing you can use to fill it, or you don't want to alter the truthness of your data, you might just remove it. Exactly. So that is how to deal with. That's how to deal with missing values. So I think we are done with data cleaning anyway. So let's go to what we want to talk about today. So we just spend some minutes on that, then we'll move. So let's start with functions. I sent the file to you people in the group. That's lab 4.3.3, formulas and functions. Lab 4.3.3. You can just open that up. 4.3.3. So I have it opened already. Okay, this one is for pivot. I need formulas and function. All right, let me try to open it newly. Let's open. Let me download formulas and function. Okay, I don't think I've downloaded that. All right, while I'm trying to open mine, you can quickly do yours too, so we can be on the same page. Okay, bike sales functions. That's the data I'm looking for. All right. So opening. I'll just share I'll stop sharing this particular part, then share where it is. Buy sales, formulas, and function. All right, so I'm following the notes. Now, Excel has about 11 different categories of built-in functions, right? And many functions are used by data analysts. Some actually for text and some are for statistical function, right? Now, the text functions include the concat, the len, left, right, mid. So those are the words we'll actually be talking about. Why the statistical we'll be talking about the counts, count blank, count A, count if, average if, mean if, and so on. Right? So we have to open the um, bike sales function data set by sense. Now let's start with the concat. The concat is actually used to join two or more columns together. The opposite of it is split text to column that we did the other time, right? Now, let's say we want to concat two columns. We want to concat two columns. Oh, this did not open. Let me try opening it again. Am I still on? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm trying to open my data so we can. It's now opening. Just a minute. Let my system open the file so we can. All right, just a few minutes, please. Let me work this and see what's going on. Okay, we just go back here. All right, it's open already. So let's get started. What I need to do now is to share my particular work area. I'll share my window. Okay, so let's start with the concat. Let's say we want to, you notice here we have the day, right? The month and the year, right? Before we even talk about that, let's use let's say we want to concat this country column. We want to merge it together with the state column, right? I'll create a new column here. That's Control Shift Plus. All right. So I'll just call it country state. Country state. So to do concat, I'll say equals to concat, right? But in this case, in desktop, you can't see concat, you will see concatenate, But if you are working online, there's concat actually. Are we together? So I will concat this particular cell, which is I2, then comma, I'll concat it with J2, right? So I'll close the column and hit my enter key. So take note that it has merged the two together. Somebody still online with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I hope you got what I just said. No, that's problem. Or you
Yes,
were
sir.
lost. So take note that
Yeah, I got
this actually did not give space. So if I need space between, I'll just put this, then comma again. If I hit my enter key, still the same. So I have to put actual space between these quotes, right? Now there's space here. Let's say I want comma in between United States and California. So I'll just come here and put comma here, right? So I've concatenated these two columns together into one. And I can then drag this to fill the rest, right? So that's is it. That is concatenation function, right? It is also a text string, a text function. Now the next I want to talk about is the left the left function. Now the left function is used to extract some part of a text. Basically, they're dealing with text function. Let's say I have let me follow what is here. I want to work from on cell on column M. What is column M? Column M deals with description, right? Or let's say column N. Let's see column N, right? Let's say I want to extract the product name, right? Or the model. This particular column can be split into three, which is the model, the color, and the size. Model is mountain 200, color is black, size is 46. We can actually do this with split text to column, but since we want to learn the left right function, I'll insert a new column here. Right, I need to delete this. I think I've done that before. So I have two columns here. Let me call this model. Right. So the model starts from what length? Mountain is how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. About 13. So I can use the left function to extract that. So I'll say equals to left, right? This particular column. How many characters do I want there? I want 13. I counted 13 the other time. If I hit my enter key, so I have this here. Did you get that? Hello? Somebody online?
I don't know. My screen is freezing. I
It's
can't even
freezing.
see what you're doing.
Okay. Is it your screen or from my hand?
Can you come
I think
again?
it's. Can I what? I should do that again.
Can you come again? Yes.
Okay. Now I say Excel functions are actually used. Excel functions are actually used. Are grouped in different categories. We have some text, some are statistical. So let's work on some text. And one of the text function is the left. Now take note of this particular column, product description, right? It has mountain 200 black, comma 46. Now you can actually split this using split text column to text or text to column rather, right? But since we want to learn about text character, right, or text function, so I can use the left function to extract the product model, right? model is mountain 200, mountain 400, or whatever mountain it is. So let us extract that. So because say equals to, what we want is around the left hand side. So the best is to use left. So equals to left, right? I'll choose this particular column. So how many characters do I want to extract? I think that's about 13 characters. So mountain up to 200, that's about 13 characters. So if I hit my enter key, so that is mountain 200. So I can then drag down to fill for the rest. I don't know if this is clear now.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that is that. So though we can see that some have dash between it, so you can use the replace function to that. But that's not what I want to deal with for now. So the next thing I want to talk about is the mid function. What can we use mid function for? Now, in the middle, we have black, silver, and so on. So I can just create a new column and call it color, right? Or I use it. So I want to extract. Now I want characters immediately after this mountain 200. Let me say, let's talk about how it works first. So I'll say equals to mid, right? Equals to mid. I want from 13. Don't forget, after mountain is about 13 characters, we counted the other time. From 13 characters, right? What do I want there? I want or let me say the text first. This is the text I want. Then after the 13th character, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Black is 5 characters, spelled in 5 characters. So then it gives me black. You can see that it gives me it did not give me C, a K rather. I can just increase this to 6. Then I have my this. Okay, I gave it 8. So did you get it? So I can then drag down to fill for the rest. Oops, there are some things that did not follow suit, while I have some that follow suit. If you will notice that those ones that have silver did not actually complete the spelling silver. Are
Yes,
we
sir.
together? Good. So what
Yes,
can we
sir.
do? First of all, let's try to filter them out because that's the only thing we want to. That's what we want to work on now. So I'll go to my data tab, click on filter, right? That's mountain 200 silver, and search for those I want. Mountain. Let me check this. Mountain 200. There's a hyphen. Mountain 200. Silver. I'll uncheck all this. Let me just SIL. Good. So then these are all what I want to work on. So then I click on OK. So these are all that did not complete the silver. So what can we now do to this? What we can do to it is to edit this by increasing this to 7, right? Then we can then drag it to the rest. So it will only affect those ones with silver and not the rest. Do you understand? So let me remove my filter and see if I have it. You can see I have black spelled correctly, silver not. So the rest, I have mountain 400 W silver. So I'll do the same thing here. Add filter and filter mountain 400 W. I'll check this. I say mountain 400 W. So I'll say check all those ones. So all this where the error is now. So now what can we do is to increase my starting point. Now my starting point is not more 13. because 13 is around 400. So after 400, we have another character, dash, that is 14, W, that is 15. So I'll change this to 15, right? Then you can see I have silver, so I can then increase this, how many characters I want, to 7, and drag it down to fill the rest. Do you understand? Let me remove my filter and see. Good. So I have all the colors extracted. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't know if you got that right. Did you get it, or you are having challenge with your system?
I got it.
Okay. So now let's move to write function. Let's assume that we want to extract the size now. So I'll create a new column here, Control Shift plus. All right. I'll call it size, S-I-Z-E. So I can use the write function to extract the size by saying equals to write. Right. Now I want to extract from this column. How many characters I want to extract from the left? I want just 2 characters from the left. So that gives me the size. And I can then drag this all down. And it gives me all the whole sizes. So that is how to use the left, right, mid function on text. So moving further, I'd like to move into the count function. The count function counts how many non how many characters do we have? How many values do I have? So what I would do is to count the whole of this. Let me count the whole of how many sizes do I have. So let me say equals to count, right? I would now say I will select this particular column, right? Then hit my enter key. Okay, I'm having 0. She's supposed to count everything. Let me go back to the formula. What did you have at your side?
My size.
So equals to count Q2 to Q. Okay. What value do you have? Oh, you are not following.
I am.
Okay. So it might be from my hand. So I just wanted to do that and try and figure out what's going on.
I'm having 0.
You're having 0.
Okay. Wait, what's the difference between count and count A?
Count A week also counts the empty cells. Right?
Okay.
Count will only count the non-empty cells. So I'm supposed to have 80 something. So equals to count. Still have 0. Try to put it in another column. Equals to count Q2 to Q89. Might be from the data anyway. But that's strange.
But I'm getting a value when I use count A. I'm getting 88.
88
Yes.
for count A.
Yes.
$88. Okay, work more on that and see where you went. Or you have an issue. I don't want to waste more time on that. So the next thing I would like to talk about, actually, count should give you 88. Count A should give you more than 88. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is count if. Count if is used to, or let's start with count blank first. Count blank is used to count how many blank cells do I have in the particular column. Let's see, I would count the blank cells in this particular column. So I'll say equals to count blank, right? Then I'll select as N2 from N2 to N89. So I have to, let me increase it, that's N93. So I have just two blank columns or blank cells in this particular column, which are this and this. That is count blank function. I get that's cleared. Now, the next is I can use count if in to do so many things. As long as I want it meets a particular condition, I want it to count. So let's assume I want to count how many countries, how many California countries are here, right? So I can then say equals to count if, right? Count if the whole, if this whole of the whole of this column, right, is California. I just spell that as CALIFORNIA. Includes this. So how many do I have? So there are 18 particular data sets, 18 countries that are from California here. I don't know if you understand that. So count if you can use to check. Count if it meets a particular condition. That is count if. Another way we can also use count if, we can use it to check how many values are repeated or if a particular thing has occurred before. Are we together?
Yes. Sir.
So let's say I want to check how many times this thing has occurred. So I can say equal to count, following the sample in what I sent to you, right? Save my time from typing. So equals to count if. Now this particular, I'm still going to talk about absolute reference and relative references. Now in this case here, you can see A and pattern 2. Now this is called relative reference. That is, I want A to change. I'm selecting the whole of A, right? But it can actually change. We'll talk more about that later on. So if the whole of column A is the same thing as A2, I want you to count it. All right, so we have one California. So I'll keep going down. Notice, let me finish that. So California, that's one again. I can't see if this is equal to. All right. This should be A2. That's from A3 to A93. I guess our data stop at 93. So I want you to give me a 2. Good. So I can then drag down a few. Okay. That's A2 to A2. Are we still together?
Yes, but I don't understand what you're doing.
Okay. Actually not giving me my result anyway. But this is that it can be used to count how many repetitive values we have. Now, this is what I'm saying. If this particular cell, I can do this another way anyway. But if this particular cell, if this range A2 to A, what's it called? To A2, if it is, I'm checking from here to here now. This is called relative reference, right? We have absolute and we have relative reference. So I say I'm choosing the whole of column A, but it can change. So from A3 to A whatever, whatever. So this will now keep changing. So if it is equal to A2, I want it to count. Just like saying if this all of this is this. So I want you to count. So I'm expecting these figures to change anyway, but it's not. But other way to do that is to just use if function straight off. So I can say if this particular column, or let me start from this particular column. If this particular column, right, is equal to this particular column, as if J3 is equal to J2, and I want you to count. I want you to count this cell. Else, just leave it blank and close it. That will give me that. Where is that cell again? Okay, I'm not following. I don't know. You're not getting what I'm doing, Abby. So this is it.
Yes, sir.
You're not getting it. Okay, you can just follow more on the on the notes. It's more straightforward there. And which data set am I using? So it's almost 7 anyway. Let's move on to average if. Now the same way we use count if to check to count if it meets a particular condition, you can also use average if it meets a particular condition. Let's assume that we want to sum or we want to find the average of revenue that are only bought by the youth or that are generated from the youth or bicycle bought from the youth first. I will open a new sheet, right? Let me call this youth, youth, right? So so the next I'll term it here revenue. Don't forget we have a column called revenue, right? So what I will do now is to go to let me expand this particular column. Follow me, please. So that will say average equal to average if. Now, if what condition? If this particular cell, what particular cell, what column has revenue? Are you still lost? Do you get what I'm doing at all?
Mhm. Yes, I do.
We want to get the, don't forget that we have age group. If you go to category age group, we have adults, we have young adults, we have youth. I want to get only the average of all the whole revenue from the youth alone. That is all the money that we generated, or that were all the items that were bought from the youth. Average revenue, right? So that's what led us here. So say average. If this particular cell column, I'll select the whole of column. If my age category, right? If my age category is called what? Adult. So let me go back there. Then I'll put comma. I have to spell it exactly the spelled it. So we have youth less than this place. Youth less than 25. So I'll come back here and I'll put comma. I'll put youth. I think they use this bracket less than 25. Now close it. Do you get? Check the whole of this column G1 to G74. If it is youth less than 25, then what should you do? I want you to get the what? The average, right? Average of what? Average of the revenue. So then I'll now go and select the whole data I have in my revenue. So I'll come here and select that. I'll close the bracket and I hit my okay. Okay, I'm having some error. We found a problem in this. So I need to reselect that column again. That's sheet G1 to let me take that again. Let's delete the whole formula. So average if this column, where is the column? Column G. Column G has the group category. Where is it again? If you are not getting what I'm doing, please kindly just ask question, right? Comma. If it is youth, I need to get how to spell that. Young adult or youth, YOUTH, right? Then space bracket 25, right? Close bracket, then comma. What should you now do? I want you to get the average of the revenue, and I'll select the whole of this and close my bracket. Am I still having error? Okay, I did not close this. Division by 0. All right, there are some actually there are some values that are missing there. I don't know if you get. If you go back to the
Yes.
data sheet, if you go back to data sheet, we have some values that are that are not filled. So I'm going to try to delete those empty cells here. So I'll delete this and I'll delete this, right? Control Shift minus. So you can't actually divide this. Let me see if that reflects here. It's not reflecting.
Thank you.
Are we together though?
Yes, sir.
Well, you don't understand what I'm doing, right? I'm sure you don't understand. All right. There's some errors here. Some values that are not dividing. Oh, there are some zeros in my revenue. Perhaps let me quickly go through what's here. Apologies. That's 293. Division by 0 error. Wow. Okay, that was correct. Are you with me now? Quickly, let me tell you where the error is from. Am I still on?
Yes, sir.
All right, quickly. The error is from, I did not reference the actual value there. Let me quickly go back to the formula. Now, the average, this is the formula up here in the formula bar. I wanted to find, this is what I typed before, youth 25. But in the data set, it is youth less than 25. Let's go to that particular column. That's that age category. So this is it here. You can see youth less than 25, but I actually was typing bracket 25 alone. So back to what I was doing. I want to find average. If, right, if it is youth less than 25, I don't know if you are getting. If it is youth less than 25, first of all, I need to calculate where am I checking, which data am I using to check for the youth or for the age group. That's column G, right? So I selected the whole of this column. That's column G2 to column G3. This is where it's going to check the age group. Now, what am I looking for in this age group? I'm looking for youth less than 25, right? Now, if you get youth less than 25, what is it going to calculate? I want you to calculate the average, right? According to average, if then average of what? Average of the revenue. So I went to select the whole revenue, which is column X. You can see column X2 to X93. Then I hit my enter key. So all these are the amounts bought from youth less than 25 years. Is this clear or is still not clear? Let's take one more. Let's find what we can take in this data. Are you saying something?
I'm still
Let's
getting
find,
an error.
you are getting an error. Okay, let's take one more. Let's take adults between 35 to 64. 35 to 64. All the revenue generated from adult 35 to 64. So I'll just come here, I'll type adults. Adult 35 to 64. So I won't make that mistake again. Know what I'm typing for. Then I can then come here and say equals to average if, right? Now, which column is it going to search for the age group? Column G. So select this and Control Shift down arrow. You select everything, right? So you can say I have it here. From to 93 actually. I guess it's 93, right? Yes, 90, 91. That's correct. So from this is where it's going to check the age group. Now, what is it checking inside the age group? It is checking adults, ADULTS, right? Adults, how was it later typed? Adults 35 to 64, 35 hyphen 64, right? Then close this hyphen, close this quote rather, then comma. Now, what is it averaging? Since we want to average, the revenue, right? So I can then come here and select the whole of the revenue column. Control Shift down arrow, select everything, then close my bracket and hit my enter key. So I'm still having division by 0 error. I did not close this bracket. Then I have this here now. Did you get yours right? So
I
for
do now.
adults, you didn't have it. Check. Are you selecting your column properly? It can actually be frustrating if what's actually causing error is minor thing. All right. First
I've
should
gotten it
be
now. I didn't put a space.
it is what space, right? All right. So that's so
Like
all these are the
I've
habits.
gotten it now.
You've gotten it. All right. That's good. So you can see how we've quickly done some quick analysis of certain age group, average revenue for you. So we can continue like that and do the average revenue for, although pivot table can do this for us without stress, right? But more so, it's also good to know this anyway because you wouldn't know why it might when it's recall handy for any analysis you are trying to get. So that's how to get average of people within a particular group. I guess that's clear, right? Now, the next thing I would like to do is to use min if and max if. Let's assume we want to find the minimum revenue that came from California, or let me use Australia this time. Then, in that case, I can combine min and if together. I can say if so, then do min. But we have a function that can do them at once, which is min if, right? So let's say I want Australia minimum, Australia, Australia minimum, right? I want to get the minimum amount or minimum revenue that came from Australia. Then I can then say mean equals to mean if okay. I don't know if that will work on this version. Mean ifs. Let's just proceed, right? But I think is this version I'm working with. Because to mean if, right, this particular column, which column contains the country, as column I. So select the whole of this
I
I, right? If it then put comma, if it contain Australia, then I'll spell Australia AUSTRI, Australia, and close this bracket. The minimum of what? What are we calculating the minimum? Minimum of the revenue. Then I'll go up. Then I'll select the revenue column. Okay, I have an error, right? Okay, put this at the last part of it. Apologies for that. And I think I just added an additional comma, which I shouldn't. Wow. That's 91. Okay, let me see how they spell the Australia first. So I know I should be sure I'm not spelling Australia wrongly. Did you get it at your side?
I'm getting 0 as my answer.
0. That might be the minimum anyway. But let me see. Copy the Australia from here. Where's the country again? Australia. Control C. Then go to where I have my and Control V. Okay, let's see. I think it's AU, right? I spelled it right now. So why is it now having issue? Right. So let's say AUSCRALIA. Name error. You got 0, right? Do we have any 0 in the revenue? Would you quickly check?
Let me check.
Yes.
No, we don't.
We don't. Just a minute. I'll figure that out. Let me see where S or column is S. Take that again. I think did your Excel recognize mean if, right?
Yes.
Mine is not recognizing that. As I was working online at that time. Let's see. I'll just stop sharing this and I'll share from online so I can round up on time and move on. Yeah, seriously, very. Just use this. So I'll quickly use this to showcase that. So I believe you can see this my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you? Good. So equals to mean. You can see that this one recognize mean if. That one does not recognize mean if. So equals to mean if. So minimum range. So I calculate. What am I calculating the minimum range? I'm calculating the smallest revenue. So select from here to here. Right. So then go back to my sheet. So if which column am I using as a criteria to select? I'm using country column. Then I'll go up, select this whole column, right? So if it is equal to, then I'll put comma. If it is equals to Australia, that's AUSTRALIA. Then close this. Right. So I have 0. Minimum from California 0. That might be anyway. Let's quickly check that. I don't know. So revenue. And my filter, data, filter. There isn't 0 anyway. Is there?
No, sir.
What about max if? Try max if. So what's the max? Did it still give us 0? Did you get 0? What did you get?
I'm coming.
All right.
I got 0 too.
Okay. Try another country. England gave me how many? 2000. The maximum from England. Let's try the minimum from England as min if. So minimum for England is 1,005. I'm using different data. 1,538. Is that what you have? Did you get that?
It's still 0 for me.
For what? For the England?
Yes, sir.
For England? First of all, the data
Yes, sir.
range. How did you put your this thing? The first argument there. Let me. You can see the first. Let's open max if. All right. The first argument there should be the range. So what's the range of data you are trying to get? The range of data is the revenue column. So it should be from the revenue column. Select everything from the revenue column. Have you done that?
That's what I'm doing.
So equals to min ifs my data range revenue. Let me just select it myself. So all these are my range of values, comma. So my criteria I want to use to filter. I'm using the country. So select everything from country and select everything from country. Right. There was now exactly what I'm looking for. England. ENGLAND. Then close this. Then close this. Minus here. So this is my minimum here. 1,500 and that's the minimum sales or minimum revenue from England. Hello? Are you still having challenge with it?
Yeah, I'm still not getting it.
Okay. Just maybe you should just try go through that book and that document I sent. It can guide you because of time. I quickly want to talk about um, pivot table. Pivot table is a very powerful summarizing feature. I'll create a new sheet for that. All right. So let's say I want to create summary of my data revenue per group. We try to do that using average if the other type. But this time around, let's go to insert. I want to use pivot. This time I want to use pivot table. So let's go to insert. So you click on pivot table, right? So in the data range part, go to your data and select the whole data. Select the whole data set, right? Let's Control A. I want to select. Try to close this and do that again. All right. Pivot table, insert pivot table. data range. I want it to open an existing worksheet. So then go to bike sales. I want you to auto select this for me. Why is it not auto selecting? Okay, so when you select all the whole sheet, click on OK. Do you have this?
Mine is saying the pivot table field name is not valid.
It says what?
Pivot table field name is not valid.
You have to select the whole. Let me take that again. You have to select the whole sheet where you have your data. Let's say I'm creating a new sheet now. Insert pivot table, right? In your data range, go to your bike sales, do Control A. As you do Control A, it will fill this particular place with all the whole data you have in your data sheet. Use existing worksheet. Press OK. Then it will come bring something like this. It might show differently though, because now I'm on online version. You have it right now. Right?
I'm still not getting it.
Yeah, since it's only you, share your screen. Let me see. And that'll be the last thing we'll talk about. Let me just unshare. Stop sharing. So share your screen.
I'm actually
You are the only
using
one.
my phone to watch, and then I'm
Okay.
on my laptop. Like I'm using my laptop to work.
Laptop too. Okay. So what do we do now? Should I take that again? Or should move continue?
Please take it again.
I'll create a new sheet now. I'm on a new sheet. Go to insert pivot table. In the data table or range, I'll go to the sheet that contains my data. Right? I'll use Control A to select all my data. Right? I'll click on existing worksheet and click on OK. Then it will bring this for me. Something like this.
Okay, I've gotten it now.
You've gotten it now. Good. So now what am I
Yes, sir.
trying to summarize now? So you need to know the story you want to tell. I want to tell the sales from each age group, the total revenue from each age group per country. So for every country, I want to know all the whole revenue that I've gotten from each age group. So first of all, let me get my my country column, right? So I have it in my rows. You can see I have rows here. Then the next, I want age group. I'll check the age group, right? Then I'll go and check the last, which is revenue. So the revenue, I'll check it. Good. So you can see. So all these are the summary. So for Australia, the total revenue from Australia is actually about 1.2 million. That's it. 1,115. 1,115, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So for Canada, right? For Canada, they don't have. You can see the pattern that we don't really have different age group for Canada. Just Canada, and it is just about 20,080, right? For France, just two age group are buying there, which is 25 to 34 and youth less than 25. And these are the total revenue from France. You can see Germany, only adults are buying in Germany. Very, very much insightful. You can see how we are able to decompose